Hey my chai cookies, it's personal statement season time. So as someone who was told in my Oxford feedback form that my personal statement was really impressive and that they could tell that I was driven with many interests, I thought I would share my advice, show you my personal statement and also my first draft so you can see the process of it, so that hopefully your personal statement can come across like that, because it can genuinely make or break your application. And obviously I want you guys to maximize your chances of getting into your dream universities. So I just want to put it out there that even though the personal statement is really important, this video isn't trying to fearmonger. This isn't the video of doom and despair. I really want this video to help you guys and to give you tips and clear up any uncertainty you have around it, because it can feel quite overwhelming at times. Oh my god, this is a really integral, important part of applying to university. So please also don't be obsessed and scared and stressed about making it absolutely perfect. I don't think you ever really will reach that point, but it's just about being confident in your final draft, which is what I am here to help you guys do. So firstly, it may not be right the first draft, the second draft, maybe not even the third draft. For me, it took 4 drafts before I was yeah, I think this is good enough to send now. So for the first draft, genuinely just brain dump all of the information you can think of, everything that you've done, everything that explains why you have an interest in the subject, in the degree that you're applying for. Just write it all down on the draft. Don't worry about the word count, but make sure you've got everything you can think of that you could potentially use in your final draft. And just a tiny bit of background, I applied for biology, and then in one university I applied for biology and geography joint honours, so that's my background, which is a bit more STEM based. So the tips that I give, I think, are still applicable to humanities, to all courses. It's just that the experiences that I will reference are probably more STEM based. So I did practical work experience, which you may not have done as much of if you are applying for English, for example, but in that case you can talk more about your EPQ, about books that you've read instead. So in terms of structure, you should have your intro, and then you have your bulky chunk part, the main body, which is about your supercurriculars, and then the outro is about extracurriculars, but making sure that your supercurriculars are about 80% and then your extracurriculars are about 20% of your personal statement. And I think in the intro, what is really good to set the foundation, to set the tone, is to have something along the lines of studying the subject that you're applying for is really important. Why is it important to you? Because blah, blah, blah. And then say, which is why I find it the most exciting, the most fascinating, the most worthwhile subject to pursue a career in, because then that automatically makes you sound more serious about it, you are locked in on this subject. And so then as we move along to the supercurricular part, this is all things to do with books that you've read, lectures that you've attended, summer schools, EPQs, clubs and societies, and just everything outside of school, outside of the curriculum that has expanded your knowledge in the subject, that you've gone and researched yourself. And in this bit, it's really good to show critical thinking. So say, for example, you read 2 books that were interpreting the same thing slightly differently. You can talk about which one you agree with more and why, or if your views on a particular subject changed after you read a book, talk about that. And I think this would be really good for politics or humanities, where there's a lot more discussion and there's more subjectivity around topics, because critical thinking is so important, because it shows that you can engage with the course and with the topics at university degree level. It's not just when you're in A levels, GCSEs, when a teacher kind of just tells you the information and then you just learn that, you memorize that. You don't really need to think for yourself. It's just given to you. At university, you need to be doing research yourself, and then you need to be thinking for yourself as well. So that's the importance of showing critical thinking in your personal statement. And it also just shows that you can go and do your own research with enthusiasm, because university is kind of long, you know, and it does get a bit intense. So being able to show that you can already kind of do that is really appealing to the universities, because you're not confined to a spec at uni. You have to go and do your own research, and especially if you're early applicant, you have to do a lot of academic reading as well, because everything is just so much more independent. And then this is a tip that I don't think I've really seen people say, but I found it really useful. So when I was writing my personal statement, what I did is I went on, I can't remember which website, but there's 3 that you can use. So there's Indeed, there's Prospects, and there's the gov.uk website. And if you literally just search up your degree or course, or like a career that you want that's in the course, that's in the degree like thing. But anyway, if you scroll down to the skills section and you take note of all the skills that are desired for people taking this degree or course, try and think of things that you've done that you can then write about that link to that skill. So say for example you're needed to have mathematical skills, you could talk about how you did UKMT, you got gold. Say for example empathy is a really desired trait for people doing this course, talk about how you volunteered at a care home. Maybe if you are needed to have attention to detail, then you can talk about how you took part in like a lab course, and so that required a lot of like attention to detail when you were measuring things, when you were doing your practicals. So you can basically like cover all of the skills that are listed on the website in your personal statement as well. So I said earlier you should have only 20% extracurriculars, but even with that you still need to be picky. So you should only write about extracurriculars that you can then relate to academics, if that makes sense. So say for example, you're really interested in music, you're a really talented musician, you're in the orchestra, write about how that improves your teamwork skills. You lead a group. Managing orchestra with school means that you have to be really good at time management. Okay, it's not just like, yeah, I really love music. Like you have to link it to how you would like thrive in uni because of that, or how you would be a really like beneficial part of the university community because of the extracurriculars that you've done, right? So for me, one of the things I talked about was how I really like reading. And so because of that, I would write articles based on the books that I'd read, analytical pieces for my school's literary magazine. So it's not just about me reading a book and not doing anything. I then wrote a piece on it. So this kind of shows that I am able to critically think about things that I've written. I am able to write written works afterwards. And another thing that I wrote was about how I did school council. And so in school council, that required me to interact with different years, to interact with teachers, and to present ideas. Did I slightly exaggerate how often I presented to teachers? Yeah, but they don't know that. And so that shows that I can present, I'm like confident, and I can communicate. And that was when at the end I linked it to saying this drive for action is why I would be well suited for this course, right? Because biology and environmentalism demands a drive for action. Maybe less so for other subjects, but that's like how I linked school council and me going out and doing things with other year groups to doing a biology degree at university. Also, when you're writing about your supercurriculars now, so back to the main body, link your supercurriculars together. So say, I did this, which inspired me to do this, and then do this, and have like sort of like a chain in a way, because it shows that you've taken action after being inspired or after finding something really interesting. And that's what university is about. You have your lectures and then you're expected to go and do your extra reading by yourself and reading about things that you found interesting in the lecture. They don't tell you what to read, or they don't force you to read certain things. So that's what your personal statement should kind of be replicating in a way, because you should write about how the things that you've done have made you more interested and more confident in your decision to do this degree, to do this course at university. You're like almost convincing the university as well that you're a really good fit for this position, that you are able to understand concepts, handle the workload, and that you have a passion. Like throughout all of your personal statement, the passion and the love and the interest in this subject should just be coming across without you ever having to say, I love this subject because, if that makes sense. Like, you show, not tell. It's like English language, GCSE, but yeah, you're like showing, not telling. It's like, wow, I've done all of these things, I did this after this after this, and that really just shows that you love the subject. And so finally, a few little like small parts, like, but you shouldn't repeat things that you've said. You shouldn't say anything that isn't directly supporting what you're saying, because like 4,000 characters might sound a lot at first, but it's really not at the end of it. Don't make your sentences too long and flowery. Like, try to be concise and to the point with that. Don't cut out commas or full stops when you need them, because you don't want it to read weirdly. Like, proofread your personal statement several times as well. Get your parents to read it. I think I would recommend giving it to maximum 2 teachers to read. You don't want too many opinions on it, because otherwise you're just going to get confused basically, and your teachers might have conflicting opinions on something as well. So you don't want to get too many people's inputs. And obviously avoid cliches, like things like, oh, I've always loved it since I was young, blah blah blah. Like, if you want to talk about that, put in a time. Say like, after a field trip during year 11, that really made me interested in geography, or in this part of geography, something like that. Like, also, you're not expected to be superhuman. You're not expected to have published in a scientific journal. You're not expected to have read the entire dictionary when you were 10, or like done research in quantum mechanics. I don't know, like, you're as long as you show that your interest and your passion in this subject is sustainable and long-term, like, that's good enough. You don't need to show that you've been in love with this subject since you were a child, since you came out of the womb. So don't feel like you have to be pressured to embellish it loads as well. Okay, so this was the big yappy section of the video. Now I will show you my personal statement, first draft compared to my final draft, and so you can kind of see what I wrote about, but then also how I wrote it, and then what things I changed, got rid of, added in. Okay, so let me just quickly whiz through my first draft, my final personal statement. So here, as you can tell, there's a lot of yap at the start because, wait, camera's wonky. Okay, so as you can tell at the start, if it's wonky, I am so sorry. Okay, there's a lot of yap. Biology and STEM do not need to yap. You need to, I'll get to it when it's my final, but here I'm like, ecology derives from the ancient Greek word for home. Home is a very personal concept, blah blah blah. But I did cook when I said to study biology is to develop solutions to the most pressing issues we currently face, and that is the reason, that is integral to why I want to study biology at university and have a career in it. So I talked about how I value the lifelong learning that studying biology ensures, and then I talked about my EPQ slightly, and then that allowed me to see correlations between Western traditional Chinese medicine, blah blah blah, appreciate how understanding other cultures enhances our own knowledge. What did I do after that? I read a book called Braiding Sweetgrass, which, by the way, everyone should read. Please read Braiding Sweetgrass if you haven't already. And then I basically talked about like what I really resonated with, what I learned from the book. This was a lot of yap as well, like that inherent duty, that was yap. But then I said, eager to learn more about conservation. I then successfully applied to this program, this scholarship, and then what did I enjoy? What did I learn about? This. And then what was the highlight? Visiting this place, which is home to the only Arctic alpine flowers in the UK. And then this showed me how tangible change is possible when cooperation is involved. Linking to that, climate change, and a member of the climate change youth board in my city. I've like blacked it out because I'm not going to dox myself. But anyway, what was like a big thing that we did? We held an event, and then This then inspired me to complete carbon literacy training, and then I built upon that at Durham University Summer School centered on climate change. So already I've really established that I'm interested in climate change and I know a lot about it because of the extracurricular, supercurricular stuff that I've done. And then I also engaged with lectures, and then I wrote about this. Links between animals and their environment. I took part in an essay competition. So these are all super curricular. No one forced me to do this. This wasn't part of A levels. I did it because I was interested in it, and I am capable of going out and doing my research by myself and reading articles and journals. So I also enhanced my time management and independent research skills whilst doing this essay as well. And then another book that I read, so I really like showing my interest in this like space where animals and the environment and plants like interact. And then what did I take away from this book? It's critical reanalyze these links. And then Oxford University Biology Summer School, what did I do? I did this, and then I also did laboratory practicals, and this is what I learned. And so this is sort of extracurricular now, where it's about biology Olympiads, leader of school science society. What did I do? I presented knowledge I gained from lectures and podcasts to our members. So within that, they kind of know that I'm also into lectures and podcasts. So it's like, And then reading is like extracurricular, and also school leader of Eco Council. And then at the end, this drive for action is why I believe I would be well suited for this biology course. That was my first draft after I brain dumped everything. So as a result, it is 4,503 characters, which is not good. So this is now my final draft, which was 3,997 characters, sorry. So intro is the main bit that I think has changed. So this is what my biology teacher helped me cook up. So this is a lot more concise and a lot more like factual, I guess, rather than me like writing my whole little essay about where the word ecology derives from. And so I've rearranged it as well. So climate change up here, and then talking about it. And then I've had to obviously cut down on words, so I haven't been able to really yap about things as much. But I've basically got the same things that I've done, just rearranged, worded differently. And the way that I've linked things is slightly different. So in here, I've also talked about time management, independent research. I'll just scroll through. You guys can read. You can pause if you need to. Oh, I quite like that. Seeing herself as an extension of it and learning from plants rather than reducing them to mere objects of study. Hey, I was actually cooking. I'm reading this back and I'm like, wait, some of these lines are fire. So here I've made this one paragraph about the essay competition and then the book that I read. And then I think my extracurriculars have kind of changed up as well. There's loads of really big spaces. I don't know why. Sorry. I do not like Word. I don't like using Word. It's so annoying, like the formatting. But anyway, so I cut out the biology Olympiad stuff because I think my teacher wrote it in the teacher reference. So if you can get your teachers to write about things like competitions in your references, then you don't have to write about it in your personal statement. So I talked about actively engaging with scientific podcasts and lectures. And then I published an article about slime mold. Slime mold is really cool, guys. It sounds really nasty, but it's genuinely so interesting. If you guys are ever bored, just like research slime mold. And then, yeah, that's basically it. I think I just put this course inside this biology course. Like, honestly, when you're cutting down words, it's like the Tesco every little helps. Like, if you can kind of rearrange a sentence so that you can cut out an and or a because or a so. That can also help as well. But anyway, that is my personal statement that I ended up submitting. I got an offer from Durham, Manchester, Glasgow, Bath, and I got an interview from Oxford. And in my feedback, they said like the reason why I didn't get the offer was, I think, more to do with my interview and like just missing the offer rather than like my personal statement. So yes, I hope that this video was super duper useful. Wishing you all the best luck for your university applications. I really hope that you get all your offers. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day as well. Please, if you're in year 13, please don't stress yourself up too much. If you're in year 12 watching this, take this as a sign to start doing more super curriculars. If you're younger than that, you really do not need to be watching this video. If you're older than that, I don't know what you're doing here, Unk. But yes, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And please take care of yourself. Love you lots. Bye bye.